Welcome back, ATL. We're back in studio, and I am so excited because tonight I have my sister, my homegirl with us, Assyria Enoch, and she is going to be talking to us about her journey of entrepreneurship and her industry and the makeup industry. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Yes, and she's fabulous, y'all. So we are hoping that through this episode, you find inspiration and purpose and find out what is it that you were created to do and what is your next level in life. So Assyria, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So first of all, thank you for having me. I'm very excited about this. I am a people service advocate. So whether that's corporate America or in the beauty industry, that's just who I am. So I love advocating for servicing people well. Yes. And I do that by way of the beauty industry with my business, Soar Cosmetics, as well as in the insurance industry.
Love it. How did you get into that? Like, what's your story and what really compelled you to wanting to advocate for people?
So I think I've always kind of been very people service oriented. I'm just really big on people being treated well. I feel that if you service people well, that is what brings them back. Not necessarily the products or the services in and of themselves, but you actually being a kind human being to another human being and treating somebody how you would want to be treated if you were on the other side of the service. Right. So that's what really, I really saw how the lack thereof was the detriment of a lot of businesses and a lot of even corporate businesses where a lot of people were walking away because of the lack of excellent people service. And so I just really became an advocate in that way, even just being on a team in the corporate world, making sure that I treat my team well. Making sure that I keep them encouraged, because if I keep you encouraged, then you are motivated to go throughout your day and treat our clients well. And so then I also do that, of course, with my makeup business. I have to. You cannot go do somebody makeup and be nasty. So, exactly. Exactly. So that's how I got into that.
I love it. And I'm already, my wheels are spinning. I'm thinking about the people advocate title that you gave yourself. I love it. And I'm thinking about how do we adopt that mindset? Say, for example, like in social services, where communities may be serviced and they may not feel like they're treated according to what they deserve to be treated. So whether that's, individuals that may be dealing with some type of financial hardship or maybe in poverty, and they have to seek the assistance of the government. A lot of times there's a sense of like embarrassment and shame just because of their treatment. How do we adopt like your model of that people advocate to serving that population?
I think the key is not making people or not treating people according to their circumstance.
Yes.
Because the overall understanding is that circumstances change. Yeah. We are there to provide them with the service to change their circumstance.
So good.
So if you treat them according to their circumstance, then you keep them bound to that circumstance.
Wow.
So it's really just about treating them. It's almost like seeing the potential in someone. Yeah. And it's like if it's somebody that you love or somebody that you really care for, or like your really close friend or family member, like you're gonna push them to be who you see them to be.
That's right.
And so we have to adapt that mindset as well in our corporate jobs or in our businesses or what have you, because we just need them to come up to where we're servicing them to be.
Right.
So that. And I hate to say it like this, and people might chew me out for this one, but that they no longer need our services.
Right.
But then they also become advocates for other individuals who were once in there. They become a testimonial.
Yeah.
And so that's the key. That's the most important thing, is treating them like they're not in their circumstance, but like they're coming out of it.
And that's so hard for people.
Yeah.
For so many reasons. I don't know why. I'm a believer. I love humans. I love people. Right. And I believe that every human that walks this earth deserves integrity, love, dignity, and respect.
Absolutely.
Just because you are human, period. You don't have to do anything else.
Absolutely.
But not everyone thinks like that.
Yeah.
And so I love the fact that you have this passion for people in general.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about taking this and spinning it out a little bit.
Okay.
what does that look like in places of worship or in faith based institutions adopting that model as well?
Yeah. I think the good thing about that principle is that it applies there as well, because nobody wants to go to a church where someone is looking like they sucking on lemons.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, they want to be invited. They want to be welcomed. They want to feel like somebody sees me. I came here to be seen because I have an issue and I need it to be addressed, whether that's through the word, whether that's through the praise and worship, whether that's through prayer at the altar afterwards, whatever the case may be, whether that's through being greeted at the door, and also holding on to the thought that in a matter of a moment, this could literally be you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not so far above you that I'm exempt from experiencing what you're experiencing.
That's
like, this could be me.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, I could be the one that's coming in here, and sometimes I am the one that's coming in church desperate for healing, desperate for deliverance, desperate for a word, desperate for a touch, desperate for community, whatever that looks like. Sometimes I am the one. So I think just keeping that in mind, that at any moment our lives could shift to the point where we now become the person that we're responsible for, you know, in our prospective places.
Yeah, that's so true. And I'm thinking about just like this whole, like, even customer service. It really can make or break your day, because people may be going through, oh my goodness, so much. I remember I was in Delta while I was flying out. And I think I needed to get on like the list because I missed my flight before I had overslept. And I was waiting to see, like, is my name going to appear on the screen? And another lady was standing by me, and she was like, oh my God, I can't take this. I literally just lost my daughter I buried my daughter today. I was like, what? And she looked like she was around my age. So a daughter had to be young. And when I heard that, like, my heart just dropped. And the guy behind the counter, of course, he didn't know what she was going through, but he was not empathetic at all. He seemed very, like, rude. And so we're dealing with humans with real issues. And that is really why this is important in every arena.
Exactly. And to that, it makes me think about the fact that a lot of people don't know how to just be an expert.
Wow.
Being an expert in whatever capacity you're in does not mean that you have to usurp that authority or that that dominating, you know, type of personality or what have you. You don't have to be like that. But you do need to be such an expert in a way that it brings comfort and relief to the individual that needs what you have. I work in claims. Right. Wow. So I have people calling me day in and day out. I'm taking calls all the time. I'm making calls. Sometimes I have to make very devastating blows to people who think that, who has, for example, totaled their vehicle, but they don't have the adequate coverage for it. So now I have to tell you, I'm sorry, but you on your own with this one. But I have to tell them in a way that helps them to understand the importance of having what they need. And that is something that I offer. So if that's something that I offer, I don't have to be nasty with you, because nine times out of 10, they're going to get frustrated. They're going to be upset. They're probably going to be cussing and all of this other stuff. I've had it all.
With their money.
Exactly. However, I don't have to. It's something about this this thing, keep that same energy. Or it's something about that just don't really sit well with me, you know, because I'm like, as a professional and as the expert in this situation, I can't afford to keep that same energy with you, because this will cost me my livelihood, number one, and number two, I might lose you.
That's right.
And this doesn't just affect me. This affects my entire company. And a lot of people think, oh, insurance companies are billion-dollar corporations, whatever, multi-billion-dollar corporations. However, you also got to think, every single dollar counts. Every single dollar, every person is accounted for. And so if we take a loss in any regard, it is a detriment to the business.
Right.
For me personally, and I hate to sound like this is all about money because it's not, but for me personally, if we lose customers, the more customers we lose, the less money I get to make.
Profit. That's right.
And at the end of the day, I have to survive too.
That's right.
Or else I would become the person that can't afford an adequate amount of insurance to cover me in the events of something sudden and accidental.
God forbid. Right. And I'm wondering, and that's so true, like you can lose people.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think industries or businesses are not thinking about the value of a life, of a person.
Yes, exactly.
And one person life is so valuable.
Absolutely.
Or the service of, or one person's business is very valuable because you don't know how that person is attached to so many. I ran for city council before a few years ago in New York City. And one of the things that I always thought about or kept in the forefront of my mind was that this one person that I'm touching is connected to about 100 to 1,000 people.
Exactly.
That one person, that's the effect and the power of one person.
Yep.
So I think starting to change our lens about how we see people is very important.
Absolutely. That's the key. That's the key, and that's why I say people service advocate as opposed to customer service advocate, because I don't want to just treat them like a number or like a resource of finances, although they are. It's like you're much more than that. And if I help you to see that I care enough about you to acknowledge that, then you'll care enough about my business to keep coming back.
That's right.
So in essence, it works for itself. And just being a people service advocate is what grows the business and not necessarily the service alone.
Yeah. So I love this, and I'm going to keep going further with it because now I'm thinking about what would this look like in our schools? We treat our kids like they're inmates sometimes. I've heard teachers yell at kids, Lord have mercy, talk down to kids. How are we being a people service advocate in schools if our kids don't even feel like they're being serviced, if they don't even feel like they're heard or seen or valued? How do we show that in schools?
This is kind of one that's near and dear to me because I experienced this myself in school, growing up in school. Labeled or diagnosed with ADHD as a kid. So of course it's automatically their minds automatically go to, oh, she's hyper, she's uncontrollable, all of these things or whatever. So of course there was the Ritalin prescriptions and all of these things, 501 plans and EPs and just all of that stuff. Because of that, it already marked me as someone that, teachers would have to give special attention to. And because of that, it's like I have 20 kids. I have 20 more kids that I have to pay attention to. I can't just show special attention to her. And so I think that if we make the conditions in our educational system better for our teachers, then there would be more of them, number one, because they're short-staffed. And so we're putting a lot of students in one classroom with one teacher. And then if we do have assistants, they leave and no longer want to come back because of certain conditions and things like that. But if we make the conditions better for our teachers, then they would be more compelled to be a people service advocate or to show that or use that people service skill in their classrooms. Because a lot of them are stressed.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of them are stressed.
Burnt
now,
out.
this is not a justification for any wrongdoing or any ill intent towards a child, because at the end of the day, you are the adult. And this goes back to what I was saying about us being the expert and other, different roles within corporate America. You are the expert. You're the one that has the college degree. You're the one that already has that level of responsibility. You're the one that knows how to behave. You're the one that knows how to be respectful. Like, it's your responsibility to teach the child. This is what respect looks like. And I think that, again, if we just make the conditions and the environment more favorable for them, And if the system would show and use that people service etiquette towards their educators, then they would use it towards their kids.
What would you have needed as a child in terms of that service? What would you have been looking for?
Me personally, the type of kid I was just looking for someone to show me that they cared.
Yeah.
Because if you care, then I'll care.
Right.
But if you don't care, then it is what it is. You know, like I'm gonna do my own thing. You know, I needed someone to hold me accountable. But in order for you to hold someone accountable, you got to care about them.
That's right.
And so again, just back to the conditions, that's what made them feel like I don't get paid enough to care that much.
Right.
And so there's that. But then there's also we also need to monitor. I think that I would have loved because I did have some teachers that absolutely loved their job. They were extremely passionate about teaching. It was like they were born to do it.
Right.
And so it didn't matter what was going on in their lives. We never felt the brunt of that.
Right.
And I think that also comes down to HR. When we're hiring these teachers, when we're looking at the type of teachers that we want in our schools, how passionate are they really about this? Like really taking a deep dive to understand where their passion stems from and why they're so passionate about what they are interviewing for. Right. Because if they don't have the passion, then we're gonna see this time and time and time again, and then it's going to be those kids who are like me that needed certain attentions and certain what is it called? Modifications.
Yeah.
Like for example, with test taking, I had to take my test in another room.
Right.
You know, things like that. Or at a different time, or I was allowed like extra time for my test taking, different modifications that came with my plan.
Right.
When it comes to those things, they won't be so hesitant about providing that service or going the extra mile because someone is going the extra mile for them.
Right. I feel like this is the answer to a lot of the problems that we see in our systems. Like I'm listening to you, and it's simple, but it's also so profound. Yeah. People service. Yeah. Humanizing things, centering it on people. What do people need? Exactly. How can I serve you? You know, I listen to principals and the organization that I raise. We work with principals across New York City and others, and as well as other cities. Okay. And what I hear a lot is principals saying, these kids are acting up or they're bad or they won't listen. And then these parents are horrible or we can't engage them. Well, how are you serving them? Are you asking them what their needs are? Are you meeting their needs?
Exactly.
You know, I think it's so simplistic, but also so profound. They're like, we're going to spend $10 billion on finding a way to engage kids. Ask them what they need. Customize things to the needs of the kids. Let them know you care. Yeah. Show them. Yeah. Humanize their experience in a classroom.
Hear them.
Yeah.
Hear them. Because a lot of these kids and parents alike have brilliant ideas as to how we can build engagement with them, but they can't be heard. Yeah. They can't be heard because you're not the expert. And so, again, it goes back to the point that I was making. Be the expert, but not too much to the point where you can't listen. Right. Like, be the expert, but also always be teachable.
Absolutely.
Because, for example, you're older than me, right? But there are times where we've had conversations where you've been like, oh, wow, like I didn't really think about that. Yeah. And you're able to learn something from someone that's younger than you. Absolutely. It doesn't matter if you're younger. It doesn't matter if you have more experience. It doesn't matter if you have more expertise, more knowledge, more wisdom, whatever. You are never, as long as you are breathing, you will never be above learning from anyone or anything, any situation.
That's so powerful. And I think people lose sight of that, especially when you're an entrepreneur or you're in a leadership role. Sometimes you don't feel like you can take the advice of those that are essentially below you or your subordinates. Yeah. But, you know, it's one of the best things in the world is to listen to those around you, is to hear them, is to take from them, is to be able to glean from those that because leadership is about serving. It's not about who's serving you. It's how can I serve you?
How can I serve
That's
you?
what a leader is. When I meet with my staff all the time, I say, what do you need? What can I help you with? What can I help you with to make you better, to help you in your role?
Exactly.
They may have been with the agency for years, but every time they leave that meeting, they can count on Ms. Moore asking, what can I help you with? How can I serve you? Because that's what leadership looks like. And that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
People, advocate, service. So I want to also get into your makeup business really quickly. Yeah. Tell us how it started and what do you do?
Oh, boy, SOAR. So let me just start by saying SOAR is an acronym that stands for She Overcomes and Reigns.
Wow.
SOAR is my baby. Yes. I love my business. I love the artistry of makeup now. I was not always a makeup artist, and I was not always interested in makeup. Ironically, when I started, I had just started my career in insurance as an agent. And I was working in the agency one day and doing at the time I was doing some administrative duties. And the idea just for a lipstick collection and all of these things just started popping up in my head. And I'm like, what? And it was to the point where I really could barely focus on what I was doing.
That's vision.
So I was up till 3 o'clock the next morning writing out the vision. God gave me the name SOAR.
Yes.
And I've been doing it ever since. I reached out to a couple people, to help me just kind of get my start and train me, teach me, things like that. But, to no avail. However, the Holy Spirit taught me.
That's right.
YouTube University taught me, and I just started practicing on myself and teaching myself how to do it, and I've been doing it ever since.
That is so incredible. Yeah. That what you described as vision, like when you were sitting there on your job, and like it probably felt like a portal, and then you were like, and then all these thoughts are just being downloaded, and you're like, what is this? And you're getting all these. That's vision. Vision is I teach about vision a lot. It's so incredible.
It is
because it can come at the times when you least expect it. Like you just going about your business, mind your own business, and all of a sudden, this thing comes. All of a sudden, and it was in you the whole time,
and it changed my entire life.
Tell us how.
It changed my life, and people always ask me. When they hear about my business name, they're like, oh, help me come up with a name for this. I have this idea. And I'm like, you might want to pray about that one because I am a firm believer that you are the first partaker of what your business stands for.
Yeah.
Because you cannot possibly offer anything to anyone that you are not privy to yourself.
That's right.
And so I had to learn how to overcome and reign in this industry, in the beauty industry, because it can be very cutthroat. It can be a very heavy industry in terms of comparison, competition, and just all of the things. And I lost myself. And I found myself walking on the ground when I was supposed to be soaring. And so God really took me through a series of different processes and still going strong with it, but reminding me of the soror within me, and how much I have the ability to soar. And so it has absolutely changed my life. And I feel like without it, I probably would have been complacent. I would have been stuck in a place, and I would not have come into the knowledge of who I am in Him and who I am to this world without it. So
that's purpose. Yeah, and it's such a beautiful thing. So many people are walking around and they don't know what they were created to do. Some people are void in terms of feeling that fulfillment in life, maybe on different types of jobs that may not be meaningful. And they have not experienced what you have yet, that vision of this is what I'm supposed to do. Or some people have gotten a vision, but they've been afraid to take the first step and to move in the direction needed to make that vision come to pass.
Exactly.
So, what I love about it is you talk about the failures and the mess-ups. There's a lot. That's what entrepreneurship is like.
Yes.
It's really about, you really do fail.
Absolutely.
You really do fail a lot, and you got to be comfortable with failing and with no's. I remember there was one year, I think I wrote about 550 grants, and I probably got approved for 5 of them.
Yeah.
I got no's after no's in my email box. I said, if I see one more no, I'm quitting. I can't
exactly.
Because it was so overwhelming.
I can imagine.
But it's a process, right? And so, and sometimes we want to rush the process. We're like, forget about it. Let me just get to the end. I want to get to the end, right? Because the process is sometimes very uncomfortable, painful, feels unbearable. Yeah. But I love the fact that you, in that, learned so much in your process.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I had to, because when I first got the vision and I first really tapped into the passion part of it, I was like, oh, I'm quitting my job tomorrow, and I no longer wanted to work for anybody else. Yeah. But I realized quickly, very quickly, I realized how much I needed to stay where I was. I needed to continue to serve the vision of someone else. To help me become who I am today as a business owner. And I'm still in corporate America. Yeah. I think there's a lot of people who are like, oh, I got this business idea and I'm starting my business and I'm quitting my job next week. And it's like,
don't do it, y'all.
Unless
you came into $1 million something.
Okay, stay as long as you can, because there's so many opportunities for development and growth within that help you to learn how to become a better business owner and how to conduct your affairs as a business owner or what have you. And then also, when you were talking about failures, this is something that I've just kept myself reminded of, because I have had many failures in the last 6 years as a business owner. Right. But the one thing that always stays at the forefront of my mind, thank God, is the fact that there's no amount of failure that can keep me from the success that God has ordained for me in my business.
Amen. That's beautiful.
So at the end of the day, I can fail 110 times, but the success is 110 times greater than even that failure, that amount of failure. So I'm going to succeed. That's right. Success is written on my life. That's right. And it's something that cannot be removed. I could not succeed unless I wanted to. And that's a key. And I realized that I didn't want to. Failing was easy because the business was hard. Wow. So I would have much rather failed to alleviate myself of the pressure. Wow. But I did not want to stay a coal. I needed to be a diamond because I knew that that was what was in me. Yes. There's a bunch of dirt. I need to get this dirt off of me. I need to be this diamond. I know I'm a diamond. I'm a diamond. Absolutely. So I got to endure this pressure. And so then I just began to pray, Lord, number one, help me remember that no amount of failure can keep me from the success that you've ordained for my life. Yes. And then number two, help me to remember that if I just endure the pressure, that I will come out on the other side of this as one or two things. Either I'm going to come out as pure gold, or I'm going to come out as a diamond. And sometimes I come out as both. That's so good. So depending upon, what that pressure looks like, or, whether it looks like a fire, or whether it looks like, someone hacking away at my environment. Yeah. Sometimes that God did that. He hacked away at my environment. And it made me feel like, what are you doing? Like I'm losing everything, or that I was a failure at life and just all of those things. However, what it all boiled down to was the fact that God was using that pressure to bring out the diamond in me. And for so many others, I feel like that can really, I hope that this blesses, so many others in that same regard. Don't cave into the pressure. That's right. Endure it and ask God to give you the grace, which is his strength, to endure that pressure.
Absolutely. And that was so powerful. We're coming to a close, but I'm just blessed. I'm listening to you and so much empowerment. I know those that are listening feel inspired and empowered. I hope so. Share it out to other people too. Yes, please. Because life is about, this is what we're talking about, life. Yeah. Right? And you said something that was so powerful. Sometimes it's easier to fail than to succeed because of the pressure of success. Yeah. There is mental pressure that comes with success. Absolutely. There's psychological pressure. There's emotional pressure. Your capacity has to be expanded to deal with the success. I can remember every time I elevated to a new level, there was always a mental battle. Oh. And I would be like, oh my goodness, I can feel this thing like I'm flying.
Yes.
You know, when you're getting up and your ears is like hurting, you're like, oh, and it's so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I can literally feel it, right? And so what does that mean? We don't want people to quit, but it's a part of life.
It is.
On your way up, you're going to experience turbulence. You're going to experience being uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
Especially as an entrepreneur or whatever you're doing in your life. But don't give in. Don't cave in.
Don't cave in.
Because you are a diamond.
You are a diamond.
That's right.
Or you're gold. Because I know some men be like, I want to be gold.
Right.
You can be gold. You can be gold too.
You're gold. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, how can people reach you if they want to follow you or get their makeup done? If y'all want to look fabulous like me, Syria did. If you're listening to the audio, that means you guys got to watch the video. How can people follow you and book you?
So you can follow me at Soar Cosmetics on all platforms. That is S as in Sam, because I have a lisp, so let me help you. That's S as in Sam, OAR Cosmetics on all platforms. Well, Facebook and Instagram. You can also send me an email at thesoarco@gmail.com if you would like to inquire about anything outside of makeup. Aside from that, please do go to Soar Cosmetics on Instagram or Facebook and send me a message, as I am building out my website and my platform for people to submit their inquiries. But for now, please use social media.
Awesome. Please reach out to Assyria, your girl, all things makeup and beauty. Book her. She's incredible. You can hear the passion, not just in entrepreneurship, but just for people as a whole. We have to adopt the people service advocate model and mindset in all industries. So I hope y'all got that. And remember, no matter what you're going through, you're a diamond or your gold, whatever you choose. We'll be back soon. We love you guys. Stay tuned.